Hey guys, Andrew here, and welcome back to my channel. So, if you don't know what I do by now, basically if it's Canadian, I want to talk about it. And today I thought I'd finally wrap it up and finish talking about Kim's. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I'm a fan. And now, with Season 5 heading to Netflix, I thought I'd just let out my few last thoughts and comment on what's to come. So, let's get started. Okay, so I mentioned the videos before, and one of them was a prediction video. Spoiler alert, I got a few things right, I got a few things wrong, but what does that really matter? The show opens up with Janet talking about Tanzania and explaining that her and Raj split after he did something there. We also learn that Gerald is back at the store needing money while he's looking for an internship. Meanwhile, Appa and Uma have not told anybody about Uma's diagnosis, and Jung is over in California for business school. Now, the way the show works this year for me, it felt like there were two halves to it. There was a good half and there was a bad half. Now, the first half is unfortunately the bad half. What happens is we get a few moments of character growth, but for the most part, it feels like the show stalls. There's a lot of storylines that feel like they're just there to sort of kill time, and there are others that I just wonder why they were there at all. The big one that kind of set me off would be Terrence with the shorts. So they decided at Handy to give everybody the opportunity to wear shorts. This results in an issue where Terrence decides to wear short shorts that reveal a lot of his body, and they're just not comfortable with it. Now, as a gag, that would be funny, but I just didn't see why it needed to be a whole episode. I feel like what would have been great would have been if Shannon and Kimchi had to work together to figure out a way around a rule that said pants only because it's professional, and then at the end, there's a gag where Terrence is wearing short shorts. But not a whole storyline. On top of that, there were a lot of other stories in the first half of the season that they didn't really conclude. Like, what I mean is they sort of just stopped. There wasn't really a resolution. It wasn't really wrapped up. They just sort of dropped the story after a while. Now, halfway through the season, we got an announcement that this would be the last season of Kim's. Citing creator burnout and the difficulty of trying to keep the show going, they decided that this would be the end despite being renewed for another season. Now, I really don't want to get into it. So, with that being said, the second half of the season, things got a little bit, okay, they got a lot better, to be honest. We still did have a few episodes featuring stories that went nowhere, but we also had a lot more throwbacks to previous seasons. We saw Shannon and Jung get called in for the amazing trek. We saw Uma's cool Christian Korean guy show up, and we saw a little bit of Na-young as well. We also got a few more hints to what would have probably been Season 6's main story, the reuniting of Jung and Appa. We see it first in a restaurant when Appa is going to pick up food and so is Jung, and there's a moment where it lingers that maybe they'll sit down and talk for the first time in a long time, but that doesn't happen. We also see Jung in and around the house, and at the end of the season, he pitches what Kim's Convenience could become, and there's a few lines of dialogue that hint maybe he'll take over, but sadly, that doesn't happen. Instead, we're kind of given a story where it's just whatever happens to them, you kind of have an idea, but you're not sure. It looks like Janet is going to start her own photography studio. Jung is just going to work at Handy for now, but he's going to keep looking for something bigger. And Appa and Uma are thinking about ending their time at the store. We also see that Shannon is going to go off and do her own thing, which leads into the spin-off, which no comment. And Kimchi gets a little bit of closure when it comes to his dad. It's not in the typical fashion that we'd expect, but it's kind of funny and it works in a way. Moving forward, I would just like to say the show meant a lot to me. It's something I watched at first with a roommate, and then I kind of stuck with on my own. I introduced my girlfriend to it. I got to take a picture with Paul Sung-Young Lee, Mr. Kim, and I've even gone to the store. So it's been a big deal for me. Now, in a live stream post season 5 finale, Paul Sung-Young Lee talked about a get-together, maybe some sort of mini convention, and honestly, I would say that's a great idea. A lot of shows do find a second life in these conventions, and after some time, the creators will usually use this groundswell to sort of push for one last effort. Maybe we'll get a movie which wraps everything up. Maybe a limited run series. Whatever. If we get something, that's great. If not, I understand. And at the end of the day, I just want to say this. Don't go after Ins Choi. Ins Choi was somebody who wrote a stage play based on his experiences. That got turned into a show, and that got pushed further than I think he ever imagined. We were lucky with what we got, and yes, it does suck that it ends this way, but you know what? A lot of things don't even get to go this far, and we're very lucky with what we got. So to Ins, thank you. Alright guys, so I think this is gonna be my last video about Kim's. I'm a little bit sad, but I'm glad we got to go on this journey together. So, hey, you guys like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. Just be yourselves. Alright? I'm Andrew, and I'll talk to you later.